Hey there, in this video we're going to take a look at a book that I recently picked up off of eBay and examine the book together and go through and look at the defects, look at any other condition related items, and see if we can come up with what we think the book will ultimately grade at if it were sent in to a professional grader such as CGC or CBCS. So let me take this out of the bag. This is exactly how it came. It came shipped in a homemade cardboard mailer, which I was a little afraid of, but the book did arrive in pretty good shape in this oversized magazine bag and board. So I'm going to go ahead and take the book out. So what we want to do here is go through 3 different steps and then lastly arrive at a final grade on the book. So the first thing that we're going to do is take a first impression, just an overall, based on experience with comic books. What is the overall first impression of this book? And what is this book? This is Uncanny X-Men number 114 from Marvel Comics, 1978. And the significance of this book is this is the first time that the title, The Uncanny, has appeared over the X-Men logo on a book. It didn't officially become The Uncanny X-Men until issue 142. But prior to 114, issues 1 through 113, it just said X-Men. So it's kind of a fun book because, it was a word I know as a kid. It was the first time I'd actually heard it was Uncanny X-Men when I was reading X-Men books. So there's some significance there, obviously, for the title, but also for me personally. Now, just looking at it to try and get that first impression, I don't feel like it's a low grade. I'm trying to figure out if it's a low, mid, or high, and then try to break it down even further from there. I feel like it's right smack in the middle as a mid grade, maybe even just a touch above mid. There's definitely some issues that we'll get into here in a second. But if I'm just going off of that first impression, I would say it's mid to above mid, and maybe leaning towards above mid, although I can see quite a few, I would say, pressable defects, honestly, along with some color breaking spines. So would you agree that this book sort of looks like a mid or above mid grade? Just kind of giving it a once over. And we could start to examine the book a little more closely, but And then looking at the page quality, to me it looks like it's probably off-white. I don't know if it would, maybe off-white to white, possibly. Then same thing with the back cover. Sometimes there's some bleed through on the back, but looks pretty good. And then just kind of open it up to the middle. There we go. And staples look pretty good. Really no rusted staples or anything there. It doesn't appear to me that the staples were replaced. So those are certainly still attached to the book. So in looking at that, I would still say that the first impression that I gave the book is still relatively spot on. Again, without breaking down every defect, I'm still considering somewhere in the 6, maybe even up to 8 on this one, just because the inside looks very clean. And then the third step would be to assess the defects. And let's see if there's really any major defects. We're looking for tears, severe impact damage. So let's start to look at the spine in more detail. And we're not working back from a 9.8. We're working in that 5, 6, all the way up to 8.0 range. So these are certainly typical of what you would find in that range. This is really, this whole section here of the lamp, even further down right here where my thumb is, this is where the book's going to get killed, because these are pretty severe color breaking spine ticks, right? I mean, is there 2, 3, 4, 5, 5.5 maybe. There's one even further down right there. That's a pretty significant one. 6. I think we're good. Maybe 6 to 7. Pretty severe spine ticks. Again, allowable in that range, but are we talking an 8.0 anymore? Probably not. What do you think? Yeah. Down here in this corner, doesn't look terrible. I would say typical for a book this age. A little bit of corner softening, but nothing too bad. I will say too that if you could see right on Jean's hair, there's a bit of a dent in the book. I don't see any stains though as we go across the logo. But here's the other thing that I notice as I move this back and forth. This is why overhead lighting is important. Right there you can see there's a lot of wrinkling up at the top. And then as we move towards the edge, there's all of these like pin-sized indentations in the cover. So what do you make of all that? Even down here, almost like it was laying on something and just got dented all over the place. I'm gonna open up the cover and see just, yeah, you can kind of, it's hard on a white page, but you can kind of see it went, it's not going through the cover, but almost. But it's not color breaking, so it's pressable. But you can't say that the book is an 8.0 because it can be pressed. You have to be realistic. So I'm not going to count all of these defects, but again, this is where I don't believe it's going to be anywhere near an 8. So what do you think? We've kind of arrived at a first impression. We've done a quick restoration check. We've looked at the defects. Definitely some color breaking spines. On the back here, definitely have a dirt issue. There is a bit of a tear on the page right across the white, so that just a slight tearing or lifting of the paper. A little bit of wrinkling down there. So I'd love it if you would leave your vote down in the comments section. Let me know what was your first impression. Did we look at everything from a restoration perspective? Anything else that you would check? Any other defects that you spotted that I missed? And then what was your final grade? What do you think you would give this book if you were grading it? Do you believe it's a candidate for pressing? I do. I certainly do. This would be a fun one to press because I don't have to worry about the spine too much. It is what it is. There's really not that much improvement. The improvement is going to be on this side of the book, which I think even in a quick press, that would certainly help that and the top and get a lot of those wrinkles out. So if it were me, I think I would be giving this book probably a 6.5. So that's a fine plus. I could be talked into a 6, but I really don't see it being anything higher than a 6.5 just because of all of the wrinkling and the defects. Now, if a press took care of all of that, that's where, I think it could be pushed into the 7s. But that's the grade that I'm going to give it for now. I'm going to give it a 6.5 and mark it down as a candidate for pressing. So let me know what you think in the comments. Thanks for watching, happy collecting, and see you next time.